Good night. I'm just keeping my promise. Hi, Melissa. How are you? If there's anyone else in the chat, just leave me a comment so we can get the ball rolling. No, I'm just keeping my promise. I like to be a person who keeps my word. To be honest with you, I just got so busy the last hour, I almost wasn't able to make it. So I'm just doing a quick shout out. Just going to touch the topic a little bit. Good night, off jam. Good night, manifest destiny. I'm not sure where you are, if it's day or night, but welcome. Bless up, everybody. Yes. Any of you care to tell me where you're at? Which country are you living? Are you in Jamaica? Are you in the States? Thank you, Melissa. Where are you? Where are you? Good morning and greetings. I'm pleasantly surprised because I missed a time frame. Okay, where are you, HD? Okay, so you're in the UK. So what time is it now in the UK, Militia? I'm just giving folks some time to come in. When I see 10, I'll get started. Manifest Destiny. Atlanta. Okay. Cayman Island. Bless up yourself, Florence. Shirley. Okay, that's UK time. Okay. So is anyone here from Jamaica? Oh, off Jam, Jamaica. Are you living in Jamaica, off Jam, or you're from there? I'm waiting to see 10, so just bear with me, everybody. Just let me say greetings to everybody who's here. And thank you so much for joining the live. Listen, this live thing is just not, my usual, but I just think, I'm going to use the opportunity to just get familiar with some of the people that support me my way, of connecting. I'm very, very, very shy. And so this for me is, I'm not as social as some people, but I have to learn. We always have to learn. Bless up yourself, I shine. Thank you for the contribution. Jenny, go on live is a good look. Okay, yes, 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 yes. I got to extend myself a bit more this year. I shine to my supporters, you being one of them. Now, I'm here to talk about Delano and his mom, talk about the situation in Jamaica as it's unfolding. I'm probably late because I was kind of busy when this whole thing is, when it broke. And I don't like to talk about things in the beginning. I like to stay back and observe or follow your spirit. I'm happy to be here sharing with you. Yeah, thank you so much, HD. Yeah, so I kind of like to stay back and just observe some of the stuff as it unfolds before you can really, it's always good to just look and see what's happening before you have anything to say about anybody. And that story, when I first saw it, I literally cried. When I saw the documentary by Street, I keep forgetting his name, Street, the guy that made the video. And I have to do a shout out to him, but I haven't done it yet. So it was so heartbreaking. And then when I saw the politicians get involved, and I'm trying to choose my words nicely tonight when I'm talking about politicians, but when they got involved, I knew that was the worst thing that could happen. First, yes, Street Driven TV. I shouldn't forget his name because he's a mastermind. He's the one who really did a fantastic job in getting this video out there. But we all know that Alex is the one who put it on his platform and gave it wings. And it just saddens me that, it's become a circus that it is. And Alex, hey, Apple, what's up? Long time. Yeah, Apple, we are talking about, Alex and Delano's family. And I'm going to say to you guys, I'm not coming here to bash Delano's family. I'm just talking about some things that I observe. And hopefully somebody will learn from it. The situation with, okay, I really want to say the situation with their family is really a very sad one. Good night, Anne. It is very sad, but that is very common for a lot of people in Jamaica. Their situation is not a one off situation, it's just one of many situations in Jamaica where people are really living like that, even though they have political representation. And before I say anything else, the government in Jamaica is a big disgrace. And I cannot believe they actually showed up their face for something like this. Big disgrace. But I'm going to also say, people, if you notice, there's a pattern. When Buju came from jail and he was going out in the street to feed the people, quickly they shut that down. They say you can't feed the people, you're not allowed to do this kind of thing. Then I'm gonna say Jenna Dunn. If any of you know Jenna Dunn, she's that original person who used to go on the road with her own money and buy food and feed the poor. They shut that down quickly. Okay. And there is one big charity program in Jamaica that's been around for about 2 years. And that's a good thing. And I don't know how she was able to carry that on. But every person who ever tried to help poor people in Jamaica, they get shut down. The same Bojo applied for some charity license or whatever it is they give to people when they're doing charity. They shut him down real quick. So what does say to me is that whenever they see people coming out to assist people who are poor, they don't like it. So this is not any different. When they run on the scene and they, decide that they want to take it out, it's just another way of discouraging. It's not like they want to help this lady, it's to discourage it. So by them saying they're going to take it over, it's a way to shut that down. They don't like to see poor people get help. And the unfortunate thing about it is this: the woman now, because she looks at Alex as somebody who is poor like herself, she feel like she can't show him any respect. It's not just that, of course, government went there, took her aside, and told her a whole bunch of nonsense. But at the same time, there's something in her spirit why she decided all of a sudden she couldn't call his name. She said that he, a vlogger, she referred to him as a vlogger. And, she's disassociating herself from him and saying how, kind of putting it out there like this boy was stealing her money and she couldn't work with him. And let's talk about this. That is the reason why you see politicians all these years in Jamaica have been able to condemn, because they have so much love and respect for these politicians who don't have any regard for them. None whatsoever. So when the woman see this politician woman come on the scene, all of a sudden she's so happy and she's so impressed to know that this woman is paying her attention. That is the problem. That's a general problem in Jamaica with our people. They don't respect their neighbor. They don't respect other people who are going through it with them. They still have so much respect and honor for the criminal political leaders that they got in Jamaica. And let's talk about the media. They're a big disgrace. The media. They've always being a part of the divide and rule situation, because they come there now and they also contributed to people looking at Alex in a very terrible way. But I'm very glad that the people did not buy it. They're so surprised. The people did not buy what they were trying to sell. Number one, people were saying, including myself, if the school is involved with their account that they set up, I wasn't going to contribute. And if the politicians were involved, I was not going to contribute. Anything I was thinking of contributing to their cause, I would not do it anymore, because let the politicians take it over. Then also the fact that the mom said that she was not getting no full house made me say to myself, okay, what she failed to understand is the house she get from the government is going to be a full house. Okay, what she was going to get from Alex organization or his involvement was going to be something solid. Government have never ever issued no great, known kind of house that anybody can be proud of, to be honest with you. It shouldn't. They shut down to ensure they have full control of the less fortunate. Yes, they want to be able to control them. They don't like to see that they're losing that control. They don't realize that those days though are over, because a lot of people are, if are waking up. If you do a poll right now and talk to the average person who would usually vote, they have nothing to do with politicians. They're a clown. Nobody care about them anymore. But you still have those who, you know, it's a mind control thing. So it's gonna take a while for people to really wake up. I talked in a video about saying when I look at the situation with the poverty and how it's linked to the condition that the family was living, and I'm saying those things are two separate things. Because somebody's poor doesn't mean that their house have to be messy or they have to be filled with all this clutter. But if you look at psychology, there's an explanation for it, which is people are not used to having certain things. So, when they have something, they hold on to it even when it's of no value to them. And then I also talked about the fact that the father is not handicapped. He's not. So there's no reason why this man can't do what he needs to do to help his family. And I'm not saying that he's not. I'm just saying I'm just tired of people showing us healthy, strong people and present them like they are disabled and they can't help themselves. We have to stop running out and acting like people, because they're going through a hard time, we all have to come together and then put them in a mansion. No, we don't have to do that. We don't have to put people in a mansion. We can help them to help themselves, especially when we know that Delano was so ambitious and he did so well for himself long before any of us heard his story. Understand that the original MP who got involved in the is from the wrong constituency. So the promise of a house may now be quick. Listen, that woman would learn a very valuable lesson if that happened, because that's how they come and make promises. How could that woman give away? They say a bird in the hand is worth, what was it? Bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Why would this woman who was getting the money and she was starting to see the stuff come in her hand, why would she allow politician, especially someone who's not even from her area, to come and to make promises? It doesn't make any sense. Yes, I am Darlene. I'm Jamaican. Why? It's like the dog who, and I'm not saying the lady's a dog, I'm just using this, analogy. The dog goes over the water with its bone, and when you look, you see the shadow, and let go the bone for promise of something else from a politician who we all know politicians in Jamaica don't do anything but lie, and whatever money they get, they keep it for themselves. I just don't get it. Why she would fall for something like that. Now, although I talked about her mental health, I mean, there are things when we talk about mental health, there are so many things to look at. But in terms of her being silly, she's not a silly woman, because I saw something that made me laugh and made me acknowledge who that lady is. Delano's mom. I'm sorry, I don't know her name, but someone went to her house, and when the person went there, I think they went there to bring her some gifts or whatever. And when they went there, the lady said to her, "Nobody no there," and she was like, Nobody not there. She jumped on it like that and she corrected her so fast because she's like, what? It's like she was saying, so who am I? So the woman is not dumb. She's sensible. She corrected that lady like that when she said nobody was there. She's like, what am I, chopped liver? So that makes me know that she has sense. So we saw her prejudice by her aligning herself with a politician who was promising her. Remember, this politician didn't bring blocks. The politician didn't bring money. The politician just showed up. And before you know it, she's signing. She's signing with this woman. She's taking the shadow, the bone that's in the water. She's taking that as, yeah, this is who I want to associate with. I don't want to associate with little who is Alex. And a lot of us are like that. We're prejudiced against people who are going through the struggles like ourselves. Prejudice. But when we are like that, it always backfires. And right now, there's a threat for them not to receive as much as they would have. I don't know if people are still contributing. I don't know where things stand. I know Alex said that he was backing off for a while, and then I saw something where he said the MP, which is also another trick, another conniving plot to, you know, take advantage of the poor people. Because now I think Alec was saying that they reached out to him and that they can work together. If I was him, I would not have anything to do with the politician. Before you know it, let me hold my tongue on that one. Before you know it, his association with them turned into something else. They shut down to ensure they have full control. Yeah, I read that already. Understand that the original MP. Anyone, any of you here that's here with me right now, what's your take on the whole thing? Do you think the woman did the wrong thing in signing on with the MP, or do you think, she did the right thing? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I personally think she did the wrong thing. I also say that although the school was involved in getting this out there, I also feel the school is trying to benefit. Hope I'm wrong, but I think the school is doing the most. Excitement and promise. I don't believe she knew what she signed when she exactly why. Why would she have to sign anything? Why was it urgency? Why was there urgency for her to sign something? Worse, Caroline, worse than disgrace and drama. But I think that was their intention. They deliberately did what they did. That's why the media came out and said all these negative things. And, then they had other people who went to the family. And I agree that the woman probably got confused because there was all this attention all of a sudden. So I know I don't want to beat her or being too negative, and she's not as exposed as some people. And these are the kind of people they always go to and mislead and make promises, and the people are not learning. Sign. What is she signing? That's the thing. What did she sign? In my opinion, they're the ones who told her not to talk to anybody else, between them and the media, telling her not to talk to anyone unless they're from the media house. And there was a clip that I saw from the media where a woman was interviewing, I think it was Asafwa Powell, right? And the woman was saying to, hello, Beville. The woman was saying to Delano, oh, he was starstruck. And I'm thinking, that's so disrespectful. What do you mean he's starstruck? I'm sure he's happy to meet Powell, but he's never come across as the kind of person for anybody to be starstruck about. They're just very disrespectful and very condescending in the way they talk to poor people. They showed her a plan of the house, but I think Alex was also going there to do the same thing. What's up with this Delano? What happened? Okay, so Apple, Delano, a family. their story came out, and Alex, a person who does, I don't know what social media platform is on, but he shared their content. He shared the video. Apparently, it was done since December, and nobody really, not much person saw it. So he shared it on his platform, and it went viral. And if you know that part, that's what I saw, or a bunch of people talking about how it started. It started out with someone doing this documentary, really. The school said that they're a part of that documentary. Then when they posted it in December, it didn't really get much views. And then Alex posted it and became viral. And then people started contacting Alex, and he was getting money, and he went and brought, apparently, I don't know how many blocks, because that's an issue now too. They said it was 300, and then all of a sudden they're saying, oh, it's 100. Somebody went there to interview the family, and before you know it, still trying to make remarks about Alex and paint him in a negative way, as if he's scamming the family or taking from them you know, what they're supposed to have. There's a next thing that I want to talk about too. There's a tape recording of the mother calling the police for Alex. Wow. It's sad to me, but Alex showed receipt. Clever young man. What? You got to kid. You have to be kidding me. Like, the mom tried to report Alex. Just hurt to see our people being deceived. I first thought, why isn't there anyone there to properly guide them instead of just giving money? But it will make a difference. Would they listen? Listen, like I said, a lot of people usually get very emotional. When you see that kind of thing all of a sudden, and the reason why people get so emotional is sometimes people are triggered. When they see that, they remember how they grew up, they remember the suffering. A lot of person that give do give from a place, when they look back and that was their life experience. So they become very emotional. What I was astonished to hear was the all MP get 5 houses for their constituency. Yet so many people, yeah, exactly. So every year all the politicians give a house from their five, look how many people would have a place to live. Look at what's happening. The major platform that for the last 2 years have been making house for people. Like, we never heard of anything like that in Jamaica in all these years. And yet MPs, I think they would have more, people would love them more if they were actually making 5 houses, if each of them was giving away 5 houses every year. It's shameful. But the truth is, they don't want the diaspora, and they don't want people in Jamaica to help the poor, because they know if this momentum carries on, people won't need them, because right now they're useless. In fact, during the pandemic, all people saw was the cruelty of the government, how the poor people were mostly abused, how, they got locked up and locked away, and those who didn't even have it to begin with had to go find money to get themselves out of trouble because they were not wearing masks. I couldn't believe the lady was saying she's not getting an idiot house. That's so disrespectful. But I'm hoping that it doesn't affect Delano, because let's face it, guys, this guy is a champion to live in that situation and to be in sixth form. Those of you who are from Jamaica, you would know that's not an easy feat to finish um, your high school, graduate with how many subjects, and then to be moving on to fifth form. That's not an easy thing in that situation. But I'm also upset with people to say that he did so well without all the fanfare. And now they need a home where when they go to bed, there's no rain. But he doesn't need all these things. And the people are not thinking, they are so emotional. Here's another thing, they barely have any place where they can turn around. And people are turning up in the droves, bringing food and bags, and where are they going to put those things? They're not even thinking. That's to tell you how emotional people got about that whole thing. They're not thinking. You bring all these things and they already have no space to keep the little things that they have already. Some give from a place of loss and then loss. And of course, of course. I'm sure there are people who are contributing to them now who probably barely have anything for themselves, barely have anything. But they see a situation and they want to help out. And now somebody said earlier in the chat that they called. I want to see that myself or hear exactly what happened. Why she would call the police. I feel sorry for her, especially if she's standing her own way of success, because sometimes we do that and sabotage, you know, ourselves. Because I cannot believe that woman turned up. They have no shame. So tell me, what's the difference with the platform that has been building all these houses all these years? What does she know that these other folks don't know? Because she was able to really do a mighty good work in Jamaica. HD, the audio is on YouTube. Oh, okay, okay. Well, do me a favor and just share the link with me at my Gmail, genuine@gmail.com, or post it under any video that I posted recently. Like, what is this lady doing? Because she seemed to have this thing down pat. She knows how to run the charity and run it in a way where she doesn't get, stopped. Like, maybe that's a special blessing for her. But everyone else who tries to do charity, especially when they have good intention, these ones get shut down real fast. And in my mind, this is just another way to let me take claims to this. Let us run on. I think they have no shame. Let me run in here. Everybody know it didn't start from you. You didn't make that video. You were not the one who assisted the young man and his family to get their stories out there. So where do you show up and taking over and getting this woman to sign documents? That alone is very questionable, to be honest with you. The whole thing is just a big mess. And it's very scary, to be honest with you. And at the same time, when we see these stories, and oftentimes when we help people and they don't know how to say thanks, that's the worst. Just say thank you. They don't know how to say thanks. And they will never leave these politicians alone. Whenever they turn up, they fail to realize that you're living like this because the people who you vote in to protect your interests, they're the ones who are doing everything to keep you in financial bondage. Somebody else in that same community, I'm sure, is in need. And I'm hoping that Alex does not quit and that he continues, because there's a lot of persons who are willing to support the young man. A lot of persons. We're not worrying about the family anymore. Like I said, I'm not trying to say negative things about them. I'm just saying, oh my gosh, I wish somebody who meant them well would have spoken to them and advised them to, stay away from the media, because they're not helping. They're just making things worse. Because listen, this lady is not used to all that exposure. And when they come and stick a camera in front of her face and she start talking, she's bound to say something that can be used against her. And they are fully aware of it. And I think they did that. I think I might be wrong, but I think they deliberately came on board. They deliberately, come with their cameras to confuse the woman and to make her say things that turn her off from the people who want to help her. Thank you so much, HD. I think they did that on purpose, and it's very sad. But I don't want to talk about that too much. I just want to say that when we are going to help people, we just have to use, as I said in my video, we have to just be wise about how we are going to help people. And when we are helping them, because if you notice, a lot of persons who get this enormous support, they oftentimes don't take advantage of it the way they're supposed to. They become so, I don't know, as if they act as if people owe them. And then when they used to try or push themselves to achieve, they stop and they start getting used to just, collecting from people. For the most part, I feel no empathy for some of these people because they make enemies with their neighbors because of exactly, Caroline, exactly the same person who's going through it with you, the same people who are experiencing the suffering with you. You actually turn on them. And when these ones come in with their white horse ride in, you forget that they're always doing it just for their own benefit, just to make themselves look good. When did they ever care about anybody? They were saying that in the last 2 years, they were showing caution and they were caring about the people in the country. And what did they do? They go in the ghettos, drag out young men, beat them, lock them up, do all kind of manner of evil to old people because they're not wearing those that sheet on their face. They showed themselves for who they really were. So I don't know who they're thinking they're going to try to impress. You can't impress people when you spent the last 2 years showing how you feel about poor people. The abuse Jamaican people went through, nobody went through that in this space where we live. I never saw anybody got arrested for not wearing that covering on their face. I never saw anybody got beaten because they were in a store and they weren't wearing, the proper fatigue. I didn't see anyone get dragged into court to pay thousands of dollars. I don't know. I'm lost for words, guys. I'm lost for words. And it's not just the politicians that we're going to talk about taking advantage of these poor people because we see a bunch of persons come out with their cameras. A bunch of overnight journalists came out, and all of a sudden, these people are so caring. And I'm saying, before this happened, you all didn't see them. I know that they were poor. And as for the school, who's coming out to make themselves look so great and telling their story and insulting other persons, because when the school come out and is saying, oh, their situation is so dire and they're cooking the food, oh my gosh, it's so awesome to be cooking on that kind of stove. And you know, it's an insult to the people who are living like that, who for them every day that is their experience. And it's so hypocritical for a lot of us too who live overseas who make it seem like to cook your food outside in the outdoor kitchen with the dirt. That's how I grew up. Any of you here? That's how I grew up. My kitchen had dirt floor. And we had the fireplace. We call it a fireplace. And they use wood in it. And there are times when it rains, and if the rain blows in, the fireplace is going to be wet, so you can't cook. So when they're using this now to say, oh, what a horrible situation, I'm thinking, what are they talking about? That's how I grew up. I'm not saying that we all don't want better, but that was not the meat of the matter. What was the thing to show is that the family was all staying in one room and that they needed a house. But they just became so emotional about it and talk about it like that's the only situation in Jamaica, and it's not. There's so many people living like that, living below, way below the poverty mark. There are people living in Jamaica who only one meal for the day if they're lucky. And that one meal could be a piece of bread and some sugar water or some lime leaf tea if they're lucky. All of a sudden someone offered to be the watchdog for the family and a mentor for the like Listen to me. That's the same person I spoke about, HD, who was coming out and exposing people. And when I started listening to him, I realized, I know, I call people like that traitor because I do not like Andrew Holness. But nobody could get me to go spy on Andrew Holness to give them any news. I'm not like that. I'm not made like that. So anyone who says, just give me the job to go spy on my brother or spy on my sister, I can never trust somebody like that. And that's the same individual who went there and asking this woman how many block is there and who counted it. Disgusting. Bless up yourself, Jermaine. Of course, they have to fall out. Disgusting. I mean, when I see how everybody, a lot of them, to be honest with you, come in to me like vultures. Vulture. And that's the thing, too. That's scary. That's scary. A lot of people, when they see someone going through it and they're getting an opportunity to come out of it, bad mind flare up all over the place. First bad mind was the politician because they cannot bear to know that these guys get help and they don't take credit for it. Even though they're not like that. They're not the kind of person who would want to help anybody, but they still would want to take credit for what's going on with the family. And by showing up, pretending to care, like how they pretend to care the last 2 years, beat people, lock people up, do all kind of manner of evil. And when people actually care, like people like Jenna Dunn, I'm gonna say her name in this video. Jenna Dunn was going down and feeding the homeless people, and they stopped her. Jenna, I can say it, I can call your name. They stopped Jenna. What reason would you, as a human being, every society where there are homeless people are able to feed them, and government here has never ever stopped anyone from feeding the poor. Or the man wants to do a charity to go help people. What reason would you have to say no to that? What reason? So at the end of the day, the people who are suffering, they want to keep them in that place. And in the meantime, let's talk about something else. In the meantime, the country is open up to everybody from all places in the world, Asia, and about India, China, America. The whole world have access to Jamaica. The whole world comes there to do business, and some of these people are coming from India and China. They don't have money. They're not coming there because they're rich. They actually go to banks to get loans to start business. And they wouldn't do this for the Jamaican people. They have to jump through these hoops. They have to, qualify in this and that. They have to be able to satisfy whatever, even when they have land and they can use it as collateral. People are not getting the breakthrough or the opportunity to do for themselves. They just want you to just be begging, but if you're begging and you're not getting any help, they're okay with it. But as soon as they see that you're in a position now where you might come out of it, they show up and they stop it. So it's no different from when they say you can't feed the poor anymore by taking it over and everybody pull back. And I'm glad they are. I'm very happy to know that people are smart and they're saying, I don't want to see no politician. I don't want to get involved with no school. If it's not a person like Alex, we're not going to do this. I'm glad that they're not falling for that. Opportunity, exactly. Opportunity for everybody except the Jamaican people. Stopping the feeding of the poor. Yes, as I said, they want control. Why Asian Chinese? Yeah, well, I don't know about Haitians, but I know the Chinese. I know the Indian. Last time I was in Jamaica, I was staying at a resort, and we booked a tour to go visit some place. Because I was there with my family, so we wanted to go to. I think we were going to Westman to Negril, right? And the guide told us that they were going to stop at few, what do you call that? The flea market and another site. And they told us they're going to bring us to the stores where we should shop. When We got off the bus. They took us to this Indian store to go buy, memorabilia or whatever, gifts like gift shops and so on. And when I stepped inside, I saw these Jamaican girls and I asked them, "Is this a Jamaican store? A Jamaican place of business?" And the lady said, "Yes." But when I went in there over the counter, I saw these people and I could hear the accent. They were from India. So I said, "Well, why are you telling me this is Jamaican store? It's obvious it's not." And the girl said, "I want you to shop here because when you shop here, we will get commission or whatever." And I'm saying to her, "I'm sorry. There's a woman next door, a Jamaican woman, selling the same thing." And I'm thinking, why would the tour operator, a Jamaican woman, bring me into this store? And the next place she brought us was also run by some people from India. And beside these stores, Jamaican people are operating their business. When you go to Ochoreos and you go to the flea market, all the stores that are at the front are for foreigners. And the Jamaican people are at the back selling better quality things to begin with. They're at the back. They have to literally come out to the front to beg people to come and shop with them. They can't go to the beach. People are telling them don't come on the beach. I mean, the Jamaican people are shut out in every way you can possibly think that they would be shut out. They're always shut out, always, at the back burner. So I don't know why anyone would ever even look at this woman when she comes to say that she's here to provide, assistance to this family at this time. Remember, they also said, and I'm glad I didn't forget this. They also said that they used to get he used to get free lunch at school, him and his sister. But because of, you know, the situation happening in the world, I don't even like saying that word. Because of that, the PAD program was shut down. Now, if the PAD program needed to be open anytime, it should have been open during that time because at that time there were a lot of lockdowns. Even people who had jobs had to be staying home from their work. People were really having a hard time. Those who were on the PAD program, if they were having it hard before, it would have been worse. So when you shut it down at the most terrible time, what was going to happen to that young man? What happened to all the other girls and boys who depended on the PATH program? Can you imagine their situation? And so for the school to come out and do this documentary, and this young man talks about not being able to get food at school anymore. I'm saying to myself, you actually want us to believe that you care about him? Because during that time, you should have been looking out for him and his sister. And for the man to say, and I also think too with the documentary, some of it was for dramatic effect because the thought about the boy not eating anything to go to bed and then eating a sweetie because she have nothing, that's for drama. They're just deliberately telling to say that. And when they were saying the onion and the garlic was fried up and that is what he was able to eat, I'm like, so what? Onion and garlic, that's not the problem. Because guess what, people? I live in Canada and I've had to fry up onion and tomato and dumpling and eat that for my dinner. So that's not what the worst part of it is, in my mind, is a living condition and the fact that governments have millions, not millions, billions and trillions of dollars, and people, old people, senior citizens are living like that. Look at the hospitals. I'm just talking tonight because I don't want anyone to listen to them and their hogwash. Look at the hospitals. Look at the condition. When you go there, you see people lying down on the ground. You see pregnant women, three of them pack up on one bed. It's a disgrace. So this family's situation that we're looking at is one of many, and it's not just about them. We can't just look at them and say, "Oh, poor thing." We have to look at the bigger picture to say, "What a disgrace." Because if the man had a job, and I think I hear stories that he works at school as a janitor or whatever. But if he had a steady job, if there were factories, if there were opportunity for this man to work to take care of his family, then he wouldn't have to be in a situation where he's there begging people to help him. So at the end of the day, every condition like that that comes out showing you poverty at its extreme, it points a finger to the government that they don't care about the people. And Jamaica is not a poor country. Don't let them fool you. It's not, anywhere people are going to do business and to invest is not a poor country because they're there to make money. They know money is in Jamaica, and that's why they're going there. Okay, Ichi, you're lucky you weren't there on a popular beach hotel in Jamaica recently in white only day. Yes, I saw that. I saw that, and I'm so glad that man was right there and he was showing them. But it's like it doesn't matter how much you disgrace them and expose them, they get away with it because guess what? The Jamaican people allow it. At the end of the day, they accept it. They just have strength for each other. They only hold their own to task. They don't hold these people to task. They will do the thing, they commit crime, they steal these so called rich people or people in positions of power, and they get away with it. And they always use the poor persons to make an example of them. Heavens help you if you're in Jamaica and you're poor. You're not allowed to make any mistakes. You're not allowed to be human. They're going to hold you to task. For Delano's sake, I'm hoping that, people will continue to assist him, like pay his school fee. I think people can go ahead and pay his tuition at the university where is hoping to attend. I'm glad that's happening for him. And hopefully they encourage the dad to do some farming, and maybe the lady can make a shop or something so she can do something to help herself. Because again, I'm not about the dependency. I'm about giving somebody the tools to take care of themselves and to, you know, take care of their own family. But it's time the Jamaican people get up. Oh yeah, charity, Nick. Charity cannot eradicate poverty, even when they attempt to give people everything that they think they need. Again, the best way is education. The best way is to give the people ability to earn a living for themselves, start them on a business, give them some seeds, encourage them to do farming, get young men and young women to get trade skills so that they can help themselves. I'm not really about, I used to be about just giving to people, but the truth is, first of all, when you do that, you're going to put them in a position where they're always coming back to you and looking to you as their parent to help them when they're adults and they're strong. And even in the same Jamaica, you see people with disability. I see people with one leg pushing cart. I see people without legs. I see even blind people working. So we are not supposed to really encourage persons to feel like, your situation that you're going through is so awful and we're going to fix this for you. No, give them the tools, like I said before. And also open your eyes and stop allowing politicians who don't give 2 cents about you. They don't care. Every time they associate themselves with poor people, is there's always something for them to gain, whether votes, attention, and all of that. Jamaicans are shut up because they allow anything. It's only when police kill gunmen there. Exactly. And it's not just Jamaican, I think African people on a whole. The kind of things we tolerate from other people and we're so intolerant towards each other. I'm not sure where that comes from. So, you know, if the person is rich and is in our, culture or come from our community, they get a free pass. And if they're political figureheads and they know these people have a history of deceiving us, they are always forgiving these ones. They never forgive their neighbor. They never forgive somebody who's going through it with them. I don't know what it's gonna be like in the next couple of years, but I don't see it getting any better for the typical Jamaican. I don't see it getting any better. I do not see it getting any better. Thank you so much, HD. I almost didn't get a chance to come, but I like to keep my promise. And I'm sure when I get off, that's why I like to make notes. When I get off, I might forget some of the things I'm going to talk about. But I just pretty much came to just share my thoughts on the situation with Delano and his family, the circus that it became or is. I don't know if it's still the same now or if that things are subsiding. Some of the contradictions that I saw in the video and the kind of mentality with our people and how the charity business in Jamaica seems to be something that people are understanding it now as a business, and I think a lot of them are taking advantage of people's situation. There are a lot of people who start these charities, and as I said in my video, I don't believe your charity have to be registered for it to be legitimate. I think anybody can go out and help from the goodness of their heart. And I think there's still people in Jamaica who are like that. But then you have some vultures. I don't know whichever word to use, which other word to use except vultures. When you look at them, sometimes they're doing it just for their channel, just to promote themselves. And I guess we all do what we need to do to promote ourselves. Some people are not genuine. Some are not genuine when they're coming out and pretending like they care about people. They don't care about them. But at the end of the day, if when you go forward to help somebody and you have ulterior motive and the person is blessed by it, so let it be. As far as I'm concerned, I did this and I came live because I felt very, emotional about the way they were dealing with the youth, the way they were dealing with Alex. I did not like it. Um, I was very upset because I'm saying to myself, not just the media house and the political figurehead, the woman who came there and just dismissed him. That's how they do the people. They always dismiss the ones who really care. That's a whole other topic about the stuff that goes on. Try not to put too much of that in the chat because YouTube will not like that. If you don't mind, can you delete some of it? I see it. We'll talk about that in another topic because that's another heartbreaking story. Yeah, exactly. Um, so please stop putting that in the chat or I'm gonna have to block you. Thank you. Because you cannot put this kind of thing. You can't mention, you can't do that. Okay, I'm gonna hide you. Maybe another time. I'm not gonna really allow this person to distract me because I don't do the tracing cussing thing. I'm not about that life. Okay, so we're gonna remove this person. Uh, Maybe it's one of the people who don't want me to talk about this kind of thing. Okay. Yeah. And you don't pay attention to those ones. I'm not going to you won't that person will not be able to leave any more comment because I'm not only just removing the person, I'm also going to block. So I've removed it. It did work to distract me a little bit, but it's okay. African people also suffer. Of course, this Stockholm thing is real. They're always in love with the people that hate them. It's a real thing. You see, psychology. is something that we can't ignore when we look at some of these things that are happening in our communities. And it takes a very strong person to be able to shed that. I just blocked the person, Caroline, so I don't think he can come back here. Some perverted person. And don't think it's just some ordinary. When you have these conversations, it touches some buttons, you know. Yeah, I saw that too, Empress Anne. Of course. Remember, during slavery, when our men saw them going to war, they volunteered. The Buffalo Soldier thought that if they fought for their masters, that they would get their freedom. And after they got their freedom, after they finished the war, they were still slaves. Sorry. So I don't know what it is about loving people or wanting attention from people who clearly show you that they don't like you. And that is exactly what happened to the family. She probably always wanted the attention of the politicians in her neighborhood. And so when she had the opportunity to talk to somebody who said, I'm a representative, she got caught up with that. But I think eventually we are going to learn. Something is going to happen and we will learn. What we as Africans and Jamaicans should be doing now is use the distraction to plan our escape and elevate ourselves. Escape to where, Empress Anne? That's a good idea, but to where? Where can we go where we're not surrounded by enemies? Where? Because even if you have a community with your own people, the same ones in your midst, there's always going to be a traitor. How can we help better ourselves? We have to first work on our psychology, fix the mind, because the mind is broken. Pick which side. Can you imagine how could I, as an African person who had experience with both sides, how could I pick? It's like how am I going to pick? It's like when they have the presidential election in America and people are saying, who do you vote for? And they're fighting, these black people are fighting over the two sides. I'm thinking, are you insane? None of these people care about you, none of them represent you. So how am I going to decide who is wrong and who is right when I don't even know their story to begin with? I don't. First of all, let me say this before this live ends. That whole situation with these two European country doing the most. We are thinking it has anything to do with them when they don't realize there's an agenda. There's a bigger picture at play, and the aim is to get rid of our people under some kind of disguise. So yes, there's an exodus, but they're going to go back home. Everything is going to be fine. It's all planned. We don't always get to see the fine prints. And in the meantime, what's happening? Who's getting displaced? Who is suffering the most during this time? Our people. Our ones are the ones who are walking for days. I see a story with this lady saying she walked for days. And when they get to some border, they turn them away. So we're always caught up in the midst of all of this madness. And until we learn and know who we are and have value and respect for who we are and each other, nothing will change. Nick, two sides of the same coin. Anywhere you go. Exactly, Mimi. They got there and they were told that they couldn't go any further. Let me share the story with you. Some years ago, I hired a woman from the agency. You know, you call the agency and tell them you need someone to come into your home and what you need to get done. And I had a very busy schedule, so I needed someone to do some house cleaning. When the person came, it was a young girl. She was probably about 24, 25 years old. And when I opened the door, she had a big smile. I looked through my peephole and I saw she had a big smile. And when I opened the door, her smile wiped clean from her face. Um, you know, her face got wiped clean. And then when she came inside and I told her what I needed her to do, and she just looked so miserable. And I said to her, "You don't like your job?" And she said, I don't really like my job, but I feel bad that I came here and this is what I have to do. I'm new from Poland and now I have to be doing domestic work." And I said to her, "Is it the domestic work you have a problem with because you signed up to do this work, or is it because you're working for me?" And she said, "I feel bad that I have to be working for a black person because in my country," and then she gave me the name they used to describe me in Poland. And I said, "Oh, that's too bad for you. Unfortunately, you're here cleaning for the black woman." Anyway, I made her sit down and I said to her, "Listen, as much as you don't like black people, I'm still going to encourage you so you can go back to school, you can better your life, you can do whatever you want to do so you don't have to clean the black woman's house anymore." Anyway, for some reason, her whole attitude changed. She became so happy. She, started to say that she was grateful for my encouragement. Now, see, look at what I did. She insulted me. She clearly said that, I was the N word and all these things in our country. And because I was so programmed, instead of me telling the woman to get out of my house and go about her business, I was there comforting her. So this thing is very deep, So the old Stockholm syndrome, we all suffer from it one way or the other, and it's a conscious effort to recognize it and to say, you know what, I'm going to do different, I'm going to be better, and I'm going to stand up for myself. So she insulted me. Blessings to you, pure light. She insulted me in my house, and I was there feeling sorry for her. And then I've had many experiences through work where people were doing things to me, and when I defended myself, they start crying. So we, at some point or the other, we suffer from it. We're always trying to make people who disrespect us feel comfortable. Now we came here talking about, Delano, but sometimes the conversation switched to other things. So, that's okay. That's okay. Don't get distracted with such important topics. I know, babes. That's my husband, people. I don't want to get distracted, but at the same time, these things come up, and what we're seeing in Jamaica happening with Delano and his family is just a part of a bigger picture. What we're seeing and what's coming out of this whole thing is showing our attitude towards each other, and how we constantly feel love and devotion for people who don't like us. I made reference to that. It is in Jamaica. In this case, politician, the rich, etc. Many Jamaicans are blind that the island is still a plantation, of course, and the politicians are the slave drivers. But that's what politics is about. The politicians are put in place to maintain the social order, maintain the old plantation system. We do the same among ourselves, island against island. Yep, black against Africans, and yeah, because in Jamaica, you hear us say this place is a small island, and like, what do you mean small island? We're all one people. We're brought there, even though some people say it's not true. Still you still have Jamaicans or you still have black people saying, "Oh no, I don't want to have anything to do with Africa. I don't want to associate with this one. I'm better than this one." We're always finding ways how to separate ourselves from each other. So because of that, we constantly and consistently find ourselves getting bamboozled by the same people who don't care. And it's not always outsiders, it's sometimes our own, or most times our own, because they're the one who have access to us. So I'm just going to continue to pray for our people, and hopefully one day we can just come to our senses. You do see some glimmer of hope here though, because a lot of persons were not falling for their trick. When the woman showed up and all of a sudden took over and decided that they're going to be the one to get praise and honor for the people's situation, they're going to deliver them. This woman is thinking about election. She's not thinking about the family. But unfortunately, the family fell for it. And that's where it's very sad. And I think a lot of persons are turned off. People are really angry with the mom. I'm hoping that eventually they'll understand that, you know what? The woman is not as exposed as a lot of people. And she's very happy to know that all of a sudden she's getting recognized. And so when this woman comes, she always had a great deal of respect for this person. That is why she just jumped on board and got rid of the young man. And she's not alone. A lot more people are like that. Blessings, Lorraine. Bless up yourself. Thanks for joining. Yeah, it's a whole other topic. It's listen, one live cannot talk about how deep this thing is, pure light. Of course, mom needs our prayer and she needs a lot of guidance. So I don't want to say too much as far as she's concerned. She's not foolish, but at the same time, just like all these other persons who for years have been voting for people who don't pay them any money, ignore them, abuse them, neglect them in every way. And as soon as they turn up, there they are again. The system was created to divide and rule, divide among the lines of nationality, wealth, education. Yeah, of course, you see that. Dark skin, light skin, rich, poor, religion, of course. Find something to divide the people. Absolutely. No one can tell me different. Apart from stuff that I've seen in my vision, that is the thing. It's like rituals and incantation, words. And they're so used to it. They use words to captivate the people. And if you're not careful, before you know it, that's why the best way to deal with a politician is to not deal with them, is to not even get don't listen. I went to Jamaica to the Paul Bogle March. And when I was there and being introduced to some politician, I had no interest in meeting any of them. That's the only time, the only way to free yourself from them is to not associate with them. The father, maybe he's a shy man, Empress Anne. Maybe he's a very quiet person, or maybe he's not very confident. Maybe he's embarrassed. I mean, I don't know who wouldn't be embarrassed to be in that situation. If you're a man who has, pride, you're going to feel embarrassed that the whole world now sees your situation. I mean, something very strange about the way he is there. The lady is the one that's talking. And that is something that I noticed, and it's so disrespectful because it's a family with a husband and a wife and two children. And if you notice, the media, here comes the divide and rule thing too. The media ask him nothing. How could you not address the man of the home? They're just talking to the lady. They're not talking to the husband, and he's standing right there. Not Hi, Beatrice. Nobody wants to hear the man's point of view. Why are they speaking to the father? That's like emasculating the man. That's awful. Some message has been held for view. Maybe it's a person that I blocked. Yeah, nobody's asking him anything, and that's another sign to me. The woman is talking and her husband is silenced. Because again, before you know it, when they're done and they start telling her things, before you know it, she put him out. Let's not go there. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Okay, guys. It's longer than I had plans to stay. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We started out on one thing, and before you know it, I was all over the place. But sometimes that happens. And because I don't come on here and hang out with you guys, so when I do come, you have a bunch of things to talk about. If you have any topic that you want me to speak on, send them to me and we will meet again. I just want to say thanks to, let's see, Militia, Off Jam, Manifest, HD. Thank you for keeping the chat so active. Florence, I Shine. Thanks for your contribution, I Shine. Apple, it's been so long, Apple. I'm still waiting for your WhatsApp. And Matthew, Nick, Darlene, Caroline, bless up yourself. So nice to see you. Beeville, hope I'm not forgetting anyone. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Ruby, bless up yourself. Of course, they're taking disadvantage of Alex because he's young, but it's okay. I'm sure there's someone waiting to mentor him, and his heart is in the right place, and that's what matters. Ruby, Jermaine, Bennett, bless up yourself, and thank you for joining. Sweet Marie, Michael from the UK, thank you so much for joining. If I missed your name, it's not deliberate, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I know I was all over the place with this one, but sometimes that's how it has to be. Okay, if you, I'm sure when I get off, I probably miss my point. Next time I'm going to write down my notes so that I don't forget anything. But in general, I was just here to talk about what was unfolding with the situation with the Delano and his family and how they were trying to get rid of Alec. But sometimes that's how it is. Sometimes when you come forward and you think this is what I'm supposed to do, the universe has other plans for you, and also too, I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes when you see people are suffering and going through a hard time in their life, it's not just the fact that things are hard or they're going through hardship, but sometimes these opportunity cause us to see why sometimes people go through what they go through. And the prejudice thing is something that I have a problem with. I don't like prejudice. If you're poor, you have no right being prejudiced towards someone else who is. And I think it's because Alex, I'm not going to say he's poor, but Alex is a guy who's struggling too. And in their mind, who are you to come here to help us? Some people would rather do without the help than take it from somebody who's struggling like themselves, you know? Anyway, guys, I'm going to end the live now. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have any topic or if you want me to discuss or want us to talk about any other topic, just send it to me and we can do this again. We can meet again. I like this. I like when you talk back. It takes the onus from me to just always talk, talk, talk. Anyway, guys, have a blessed night and thanks again for joining.